मी आज आपल्या सर्वांचं स्वागत करते. On behalf of Sakal Media Group, I would like to welcome you all. We have a very special guest with us this afternoon, all the way from Shantiniketan, all the way from Kolkata, and I can't wait to tell you all a little bit about her, although she needs no introduction. And she has come to Pune in the past as a part of Ruhaniyat Festival. I'm sure all of you have heard her music, have read her writings, but I'll try to explain very briefly about Parvati Ball's personality, what she's been doing up till now. So here is a very short introduction which doesn't do her justice. She's far much more than this, but I'll try my best to uh, put this into a small summary. As the most recognized woman baul performer in the world, Parvati Baul is a practitioner, performer, storyteller, painter, and teacher of the baul tradition from Bengal in India. She has performed in over 40 countries in many prestigious concert halls and music festivals. In 2019, she was conferred the Sangeet Natak Academy Award by the Government of India for her contribution to the ancient baul tradition. She's also now creating a dedicated center for learning of baul tradition in Bengal. Parvati's technical virtuosity, her mastery of vocal pitch and tone while playing multiple instruments and dancing has been lauded by music experts. The depth of her mesmerizing performance is rooted in her deep spiritual practice and is described by critics as riveting and spellbinding. The baul tradition dates back to the early 8th century and has grown, weaving together threads from Sahajiya Buddhism, Turkish Sufism, Bengali Hinduism, etc. And I would love to also say that I've had the immense pleasure of seeing Parvati ji perform in Pune. I watched her performance twice live, and it was truly a spellbinding session for me as well. She is so lost in her own performances that, even as a spectator, it's just really beautiful to see all that energy, the way that is emanating from her. Welcome, Parvati ji. Thank you so much for coming here, giving your precious time all the way from Shantiniketan. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. And I think the best way to go to ask the first question to go forward is to really understand, because all of us in Maharashtra are, we are well aware of the kirtans, we are well aware of the Varkari tradition here, but what really is the essence of the baul tradition?
Namaskar, Mrinal and Joy Guru. So thank you for inviting me today for sharing some of the thoughts and stories of baul. It's so wonderful that you have also remembering that you saw me in Pune many years ago, but still you remembered and you came back in this time back. And also you're asking me about the other masters as well. So I was very deeply touched because we, you saw something and that deeply touched you. So I will now go into a short introduction of the baul parampara. And before I start that, I will try to say what is the essence by touching a song. And it is a song written by Khoda Baksh Saha from Kushtia. And he was a Dugi Ektara singer, means he would play Ektara and Dugi. He was a composer also, so this is his composition. And you know that in the baul parampara, the main instrument is Ektara. And that symbolizes everything for baul. So in the song, Tumi chile Ektara, hole Ektara. You were Ektara and you have become Ektara. Ektara has so much meaning. It can be one string, it can be the one star. So we all come from the plane of light, because beyond the Akasha, as we know that there is this realm of light. So when we die, our soul goes back to that realm of light and we come back. So when Baul said that there is not really any heaven and hell, it is that light that we come from and we go back to. So you were that light, you came from that light. Chilo nam zohora asmano upor. You were that diamond, the precious jewel in the sky. So if one takes the smarana or the surrenders to Ektara, then one forgets the world. So Ektara, tell me, in which trick, which method, which way will I do your prayer? Will I do your sadhana? This is made of gourd and covered with the goat skin. It is held with 2 bamboo. And on top there is a karnokati which is keeping the string attached. And it's giving the nad of Omkar. One who with all the bhava and love takes Ektara in hand, his sound floats in the cosmos and mixes with the nada. Somebody finds it and smiles, somebody don't, and somebody even holding Ektara remains far away from the true sound. You are like the human body. You sing and vibrates your sound with the sweet note. Only one copper coin and a small bead, but it makes the sound like the river in the spring. Sadhu and Darvesh, by listening to your sound, leaves home. And they worship you always. Darvesh Shukchat Shai, the guru of Baksho. Baksho meditates always, reflects always, contemplate always. And if one can contemplate in the path of the guru, the 7 doors of the heaven will open. It can be the 7 chakra, the 7 notes, the 7 color of the sun that manifest everything that will open. Tumi chile ek tara, hole ek tara, chilo nam johura, asmano upor. Tumi chile ek tara, hole ek tara, chilo nam johura, asmano upor. Tomar sharan laile duniya jay go bhule, ebe ki kaushale sadhibo tomaye tumi chile ek tara, hole ek tara, chilo nam johura, asmano upor, tumi chile ek tara. নিচে লাভের বাস চামড়ার ছাউনি, তরল বাঁশের সুর শক্ত বাঁধা জানি। নিচে লাভের বাস চামড়ার ছাউনি, তরল বাঁশের সুর শক্ত বাঁধা জানি। তার উপরে কর্ণকাঠি অতি পরিপাটি, মাঝখানে আটি রেখেছো আসমানই উপর তুমি ছিলে এক তারা। ভাবাবেশে যাই জান তোমায় লয়ে বসে, সুর পঞ্চমেতে তারি শব্দ ভাসে, কেউ পেয়ে হাসে কেউ না পায় দিশে, কেউ বা পরবাসে থাকে সর্বক্ষণ তুমি ছিলে এক তারা, হলে এক তারা ছিল নাম জোহরা, আসমানই উপর তুমি ছিলে এক তারা। মানুষ মূরতি সম আকৃতি তোমার, সুমধুর সুরে দিছ ঝঙ্কার, একটা তামার পয়সায়ার কাচের মালায়, একটা তামার পয়সা কাচের মালায়, যেমন ফাল্গুন নদীতে জোয়ার ভাটা বয় তুমি ছিলে এক তারা, হলে এক তারা ছিল নাম জোহরা, আসমানই উপর ছিলে এক তারা। সাধু দরবেশ শুনে তোমার তান, মনরে সাধু দরবেশ শুনে তোমার তান, ঘর বাড়ি ছেড়ে হলো রে অজ্ঞান, দরবেশ সুখচাঁদ সায়ের চরণ বক্স ভাব সর্বক্ষণ, তবে খুলে যাবে তোমার শত স্বর্গদ্বার, তুমি ছিলে এক তারা, বলে এক তারা ছিল নাম জোহরা, আসমানই উপর ছিলে এক তারা। So we started with the song. Ektara is the main, is the deity of the Baul, and Baul is a Nad Upasak. So, like we find in different paths or the parampara, we have different way of practice, and Baul has taken this path of the Nad. It's like, because Nad is nothing but the dance of breath. It is basically the essence of our being, because we have breath, we are here. We don't have breath, we are gone. This whole experience of I am so and so, I live in this world, what I see, people I know, everything disappears. Then it's a different story once again. Even if there is another journey, it's a different journey. It is not the same journey. So Baul said that this is my essence. And in this path of the breath, the vibration of sound, I find my Moner Manush. Moner Manush is the man of the heart. And Baul is a Sahajiya Parampara, Sahajiya path. It has the essence of all Parampara, yet it is very unique and stands very alone in its way. And it crosses all the borders and boundaries. And look only at the essence that we are the temple, these hands and legs, these are like the pillars, and it's basically holding this altar that is in the heart. And it is the seat of the Moner Manush, or the man of the heart. When I say man of the heart, it's not about man woman. It is it is about this essential presence of the divine. That is man of the heart. It can be woman, it can be man, it can be formless. So Baul is basically singing the praise of Moner Manush. And what Baul teaches through their tattva. So our songs are based on tattva. Tattva is the essence. So there is Guru Tattva, which is dedicating to the aspects of the Guru. And the relationship of Guru and Shishya. What is Guru? How we look at Guru, how we should know Guru. And then comes to Deha Tattva, which is the experience of the knowledge of the body. Because Baul said that this body you have got, and if we experience divine, we'll experience in this place only with all our mind, body, emotion, we will experience with that only. So know your body well, because you are the Jaha ache Brahmande, Taha ache Bhande. Whatever you see in the universe is there in your body. So Baul, that is why there are songs of Deha Tattva. Baul is basically a tradition that is Shruti tradition, by listening, like the other Bhakti traditions of India. It is a Shruti tradition. So all the essential tattvas are there in the song. And by singing, the singer is meditating on those tattva, and the listener is also, meditating on the same. And what I have seen through the years, it has been many years that I have been following my Guru. And I find that if you really sing these songs or listen to this song, meditate on these songs, you really experience a transformation inside. It happens. What I was before singing Baul Sang and what I am now, after so many years, it's very different. And so the Baul Tattva, after that, there is Manasa Tattva, which is about mind. But there are so many layers of consciousness. You see, Baul songs are very simple. They are written in a very colloquial, simple language, village language sometimes, so that everybody can understand. But what you read in the big Upanishad or in the very complex Shastras, the essence of this are there in these little songs. Basically, because the wisdom, maybe with our Shastra, with our buddhi or the gyan, we can expand it, we can articulate, but the essence is always very, very small, very little. So once, it's like it's like the words of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. I mean, they're so simple with simple metaphor. But when you look at into the deep shastras like Vedanta or even in Tantra or even in the Bhakti traditions, you find what Thakur said is the same. It's the same with the Bhakti yogis of Maharashtra. For Janabai or any other that you have, the essence is there. So Baul songs are also in a similar way. And if we just meditate on the songs, we can we can bring that transformation, because it's not about knowing only, it is also about experiencing. Through the gyan, when we can expand our subject and articulation, then we work with our mind a lot, and that also brings transformation. But here, with the little words and more the reverberation of the sound and the breath, that's how it is working. That's how the baul is working. So it has a direct effect in your mind. And if anywhere you meet a baul practitioner, you see the simplicity and kind of freedom that they have. They're not attached with anything, and so simple, so humble in their nature, loving. This is what actually attracted me also very much when I was very young, and I was attracted to the baul tradition by seeing them, the compassion they carried inside. So I will just say one small poem so that I can speak some Marathi. It is one of my, I have a student named Uttara Chausalkar. She's Marathi and she learns bowls, and she's a musician herself, very good musician. And she has made a translation of this baul song about Moner Manush. हे मना शोधसी तू कधी त्या प्रभूला, 7 स्तरांवरी वेद विधी त्यजूनी, वैसाला तो ध्यानी. निगूर गृहे योगी वसे जिथे, शशि रवि ही निस्तेज तिथे. आत्मा तेजे वसे उजळोनी, हृदयीच्या सदनिहा. अदृश्य हाती धरितो सारे, दिव्य दीठी पाही सारे. बिहरत से त्रिभुवानी योगी, नसती जरी चरण तया. जाने चक्रभेदी विद्या सदा, त्यासी जगी उरे काये उणे. गोसाई चंडी वणे आरे मूढ़ा, साधा सितु कधी तया. My pronunciation, please forgive, but I try. And this song, it says, for the people who are not knowing the Marathi language, how will you find him, oh my heart? About Moner Manush, this man of the heart. He is beyond Veda and Vidhi. So through the words and Shastras and text, one cannot reach him, because baul is experiential. It's through the Upalabdhi. And he's beyond the 7 story. It means the 7 layers of the body. He's there in that room, which is secret. He's sitting there quietly, where even sun and moon cannot enter. He is giving out light from himself. So he is the light. He is the source of light. And he is the one who is doing the prakash. So he is manifest. He is the manifestation, and he is manifesting. He doesn't have hand, but he can hold. He doesn't have eyes, but he can see. He doesn't have legs, but he can walk anywhere. He can go anywhere, wherever he wish. One who knows the piercing of lotus, it means the chakraved, Shatha chakraved, piercing the lotus, they might be able to find him. Chandi says, Chandi Gosai, he was from Dhaka area. And there is a beautiful story of Chandi Gosai. If people went to get songs from him, he would say, how can I give it to you? Because it's like they are my daughters. And I'm giving it to your hand. Then you have to marry it. Means you have to commit to be a yogi, a bhakta. Then only I'll give it to your hand. It's not one night stand, because it's not like you take my girl and you don't marry, you don't commit, and you just take, I will not give. So because these Baul songs, they hold the essence and it has the transmission, power of transmission. If one is singing that song, one need to build that vessel, that adhar, that vessel that can hold that shakti of the songs. So then Tondi says, Re Budha, he's telling to himself that, oh, my foolish mind, you did not enter that room to see the Moner Manush. You just roamed around outside. So that is the meaning. Do you think I sing this song? Is
Yes, absolutely.
okay.
So beautiful when you, I want to say, even when you sang the first song, and the concept is so beautiful that you are the Iktara yourself.
Mm.
You know, you become the instrument with your dedication, and you feel so much at one with this deity that is the Iktara. After listening to the way you sang with just so much of bhavana, I think there was this, you know, sometimes we intellectualize and we want to understand, analyze from our mind, but when you sing, you just the essence just you know, it just percolates to your heart. You just understand it. You don't need words for this. And your song was you know, was absolutely, we were so absorbed in it. And I think so was I, and I'm sure so were our listeners. We would love to hear this in Marathi from you.
Oh, but this one, I don't think I can sing in Marathi. I sing in Bengali. I just told you the translation in Marathi. And Uttara is here. She's watching this. So I'm sure she's smiling. তুই তারে ধরবি কি করে মনরে তুই তারে ধরবি কি করে মনরে বেদ বিধির পারে বসে আছে সে বেদ বিধির পারে বসে আছে সে সপ্ততলার উপরে তুই তারে ধরবি কি করে মনরে নিগুম ঘরে বসে আছেন সাই নিগুম ঘরে বসে আছেন সাই চন্দ্র সূর্যের যথা অধিকার নাই আপন মনরে এমনা শোধসি তু कधित्या प्रफुला सात स्तरानवरी वेद विधि तजुनी बैसला तो ध्यानी एमना शोधसि तू कधित्या प्रफुला.
So beautiful this was, Bharat. Absolutely stunning. I think after this one doesn't, there are no more questions. I don't know what more to, your music itself does all the talking. And I have been very fortunate to hear a Baul in Kolkata going under a window. And what you said just previously, that all the Vedas and the Upanishads, what you listen to, the most simplistic village language, they bring down the essence so that the common man can understand. And to be able to distill and bring the essence itself is, first of all, has to be a tremendous way of understanding what that means for the person who is singing. It's so beautiful. This such simple music, and the Iktara is just such a powerful way of finding connection with your song, with your words. One can just get lost in it, and I'm sure everyone is feeling that. And how do these? Do you write your own? Do you write your own songs, or are these very traditional songs which have been passed down? Or do you encourage all your students to also write what they are feeling into their own music? How is this music composed?
So basically what we say is that when the sadhaka is in the contact of the real nature, or the real, I don't say it's nature, real essence, then one receives the wisdom even without text. This is why even the Baul masters, sometimes you find Fakir, they don't know how to read and write. Even Lalan Fakir, who is the greatest of all masters, he didn't know how to read and write. It was his students who wrote down the songs he used to say. Where did he get them? He didn't read any books. It is just that he was in that realm, in that consciousness, in contact or in yoga of that, his Moner Manush, that he received this poem in them, in him. So naturally, when one is arriving at some realization, then one is, it is like a seva. It's called Gyan Seva. It is also a service to the humanity to give them the path, the way to realize within themselves what they carry, because they are carrying Moner Manush in them. They are the reflection of the Moner Manush. So the Baul masters, they don't write because they need the expression to express themselves, because the self dies when one is in the realization. This persona, this person, I want, I don't want, I like, I don't like, everything disappears. Here one is only with the divine, with full surrender, with the bhakti. And then the songs, the poetry come because they want to show the path to the other, to tell the experience or upalabdhi, so that the listener can have clarity and can find the similar essence in them. So that's how the songs are written. It is not written because one need to express. It becomes very artistic. It becomes very, aesthetic in its nature. It's a beautiful music and beautiful poetry. The words are so profound, but it is not made for this. It becomes. And then the essence is to serve this wisdom. And I have an image, is that if one really can find the silence when the mon moina, the maina of the mind, stop chattering, and we really find the essence within us, we are content with ourselves, santushta, then what happens is that our words become less and less.
Hmm.
And then in the garden, it's like a garden with many flowers, many words, but you want to pluck only certain flowers and to make a special garland for your beloved. The poetry is like that. We choose the words, that few words that we need, and then we create the song. Baul masters have composed, and even today, there are many practitioners, sadhak, who are writing the songs. So it is a continuous process, because writing songs is also part of our practice,
Hmm.
is part of our meditation. Like listening is part of the meditation, singing, similar way to compose and to write is. So many of my students, they're very creative and they
Hmm.
also write. And I also write. I love to write. I love to compose because I feel, of course, the Mahajan Pad, the real poetry, we call the Mahajan Pad. We need to sing them so that we receive the essence of the teacher. But at certain time, songs comes to you and you want to express your love for your beloved. So in that way, we also compose. And and the compositions, they are based on certain ragas. There, no songs can be without raga. But these ragas are also just like the essence. It is beautiful, it is aesthetical, but at the same time, it was not meant for that. It became similar way. Any song you sing, there will be raga, but it is not meant for singing the raga. It becomes, because you have to be in the raga. So some raga similarity will find. So there are many old traditions of rhythm and raga that from the Bengal, very specific Bengal. Like in Maharashtra also, when you listen to the Abhang, it is very specific. It's very Maharashtrian in its nature. So this is what we have to compose these songs. Yeah.
I think it's beautiful that you're able to bring down the essence into such a simple, profound songwriting. But I'm sure the understanding of all of that, the essence of that Monor Manush, as you said, and to be able to put it in such a simple language that even common people are able to understand that is itself a huge transformation process for you as the person who's taking this art to the people around you. Tell me, Parvati ji, now in today's context, all of us are going through so much of pandemic, and we've all been at some point housebound, completely alone. A lot of people have gone into so much of distress and feelings of anxiety or insecurity. How can, when we listen to bhakti music, whether it is, as you said, whether it is abhanga or whether it is listening to baul, how do we really look at finding that essence, that sense of calm, that grounding within ourselves? How do you look at this music connecting us with where we are right now and really being in the present moment? Because we are so much now, all of us in the future, what is going to happen? Is the third wave going to come? We are just now just waiting for more disasters to strike. So instead of that, how do we connect with this such a rich, profound spiritual tradition and truly be at peace with ourselves?
So I will start with a story, a little story that uh, it is told by Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. His metaphor is also very much like Baul, and he says that the mind is like we have pukur in Bengal, small water pond, and we call them pukur. The pukur which is filled with the water plants. We cannot see the water. So when these water plants are Maya. So when you open them, you see the crystal clear water. But the moment you leave it, the water plants, they dance back. The Maya covers us. So you see, right now we are facing the hardest truth in our life, death. Anybody can die. Nothing
True.
can save our knowledge, our experience, be it anything, power or economical safety, insurance. Nothing can help us, anybody. And this is the very good moment to practice. This is the moment really to realize that, well, we all stand equal in front of the death. There's a beautiful song of, we have lots of songs about Maya and death, because when we come to the Baul practice, the first thing the master will ask, that you must make it very sure that he is going to die. The death is the real door. And it is not that after death you will have some heaven, and we don't talk about that. We just say we come and this is not going to stay forever. And he says, Kaya Taruvara Panchapidala. The body is like a tree and it has 5 branches. Chanchalatiye Paithokal, the time entered as the breath in this tree. Even if we do all samadhi, all yoga, everything, but ultimately we are going to die. So know that truth, my heart. And once we know the truth, then we can cultivate, because we always think that we are not going to die. Other people are going to die, not us. So that's the very big problem that we have. And it's because of these water plants, calm and veils, the vasanas, and the wish, and that I have to finish this plan within this 2022. I have to get this, and 25, I should be there. All this plan is the water plants. They dance back. And then again, the veil, because now we see the truth that in front of death, we all stand equally. But when the pandemic will go, the water plant will dance back. So, so we should be able to see that essence of that clear crystal water of the reality. And if we can recognize that in us, then it's very easy to ground ourselves in this bhakti tradition. There are so many different ways that you can practice. You can think of your beloved is somewhere in the Daita Bhakti, you have a idol of worship. Or you can do this Advaita Bhakti, that is, you feel your mind of the heart is within you, and you are that. You are the essence of him. And it's only here that we have to realize everything. And the best way, since I am a bhakti yogi and a Nada upasaka, for me always helpful is the singing. If you cannot sing, it doesn't matter actually. Because when you in your room and you sing to the God, you sing to open your heart. Hriday ke khola. It means to awaken this anahat within us. Anahat is a space that connects to the higher realm and to the lower realm, which keeps us grounded with the world and also to the divinity. So Bhakti Yogi's Anahat is very active in a way. And if we can always give some time for our meditation on the songs, or just to sing the chanting any way possible, there is no rules for that you have to be a singer, there is any particular method or way, nothing you have to follow. There is no hard and fast rules. It will cleanse the whole consciousness, being, emotion, everything. So but we have to love and have to have the vishwas, the faith in what we do. If we doubt with our mind, then it will be very difficult to go inside. But the water plants comes back and we keep doubting. So, and because we call it sankalpa, when you decide that, when you fix your aim that I will start practicing this from today, and I have full faith, and you keep it, slowly it will manifest. It's like when you start, there will be so much mistake. It's like when we try to sing first, we will not have the rhythm, or sometimes we're not able to play the instrument, and sometimes we'll forget the poetry, even the pitch will not be correct. Those things does not matter, we will make mistake, but eventually one day we'll be able to sing. So similar way, the spirituality is also the same. You have to train yourself, train your mind, train your body to be able to do that. So one need to have patience and not give up and continue and intensify. Even if you become very advanced practitioner, you have to intensify your practice more and more and more. Then only the rasa of the practice will come. If you really want the rasa of sadhana, then you just have to keep on doing it, continuing it, and intensifying it. Am I audible? Is that?
Said, I mean, yes, I think,
Yeah.
yes, very much.
Yeah.
It was a very beautiful way of saying it, that to be really be able to intensify, find our grounding into simple meditation practices every single day can help us connect to our deeper selves. And we don't have uh, good musicians or instrument players, but a simple meditative practice goes a long way in grounding us. And I just so completely just resonated with all, everything that you've just said. We have some amazing number of